Hi, just a query from one student about helping with chemical equations, in particular these ones. And I have to say they are challenging. Two things to remember on the periodic table. Okay, so we have the periodic table. Okay, we have on one side we have here the metals on this side and the non-metals on the other side. Okay, so, metals never have their names changed. So here, a copper stays copper. Magnesium stays magnesium. So the metals don't change their names, okay? But on the non-metal side, such as chlorine, it changes. Phosphor, it changes. What's another one? Nitrogen, it changes. And it basically you had changes either from to IDE, ITE, ATE. And so it's IDE if there is no oxygen. So here we have sodium chloride. So there it is, sodium chloride. We can see there's no oxygen, so we just call it chloride, not ite or ate. Here we have potassium. Remember, the metal doesn't change its name, but here we have the phosphor. Because it's got lots of oxygen, we call it phos, and that's right. Eight means lots of oxygen. Lots of oxygens. Ite means some oxygen. I means no oxygen. The only exception, of course, is oxide. So, as you can see, calcium, calcium. The chlorine becomes chloride because you can't see oxygen. Some elements or compounds you are expected to know. So carbon dioxide, water. We've used this acid a lot, so you should recognise hydrochloric acid. So it's a case of practicing those basic pieces of information. Let's try again. So remember, metals stay the same, and we have nitric acid and copper. And here was the clue. All right, there's a metal, and it's just simply from the periodic table, Cu. Looking at here, we can see the copper and we can see the nitrogen, but you can see there's lots of oxygen, so that's going to be copper. The name doesn't change. Instead of nitrogen, nitrate. This one's a challenging one. As I say, you eventually learn. So this, okay, I understand if you didn't get that one. But let's have a look at this one here. Magnesium. Remember, the metal doesn't change, Mg, but the sulfur has now an 8 on it, so it must have lots of oxygens, and you'll learn eventually that's the sulfate. Hydrochloric acid, expect you to know that. So that was that one. And here we have potassium. And there is the hydroxide. Now you should know the hydroxide, they were the bases. So you recognize potassium hydroxide. Remember, oxygen is the weird one. And finally, I'll do this last two. So we have the calcium. There's the calcium from your periodic table. There's the carbon, which is plain C, but there's lots of oxygen. You'll learn eventually that's CO3. And finally, last one is again sodium. It's just sodium, the metal part does not change. It's always the first element in a compound formula. This one there's a nitrogen with lots of oxygens, so it's nitrate. I hope that clears up the little challenge that some have had with this task. So clearly that's the important thing. IDE, ITE, ATE for the non-metals, and the metals don't